Hey there, this is LaQuita with QuitaBugHandmaids.com, and thank you so much for joining me today for another Stampin' Up! Saturday tutorial. So happy Saturday, everyone. I'm really excited about today's project. I think you're going to really like it, and I'm featuring two stamp sets, mostly this one, Coffee Cafe. This is in the annual catalog, but I'm also using one image, this one right here, this leaf image from the Painted Harvest stamp set. So in your 2017-18 annual catalog by Stampin' Up, if you look at page 30 through 31, that's where you will find the Coffee Break Suite. So this is a really awesome suite. I actually featured this stamp set in one of my Club Quita Bugs free card kits over the summer. But anyways, I was looking at these samples and this coffee cup caught my eye. Let me see if I can show you that cup up close. So this cup caught my eye and I thought, I really like how that looks, but I mean, I don't really need to give anyone an actual cup of coffee, and I don't have any occasions coming up where I'm going to be decorating with like coffee themed items or anything like that. So I thought, I wonder if I can turn this into a card. And that's what I've done. And I really love how it turned out. And I think you guys are gonna really like it. And I just thought it was fun to take something that was really a 3D project idea and put it onto a card. So let's get started. All right, so I'm gonna bring in two pieces of Whisper White here. This is just a scratch piece of Whisper White, and this is a heart that I've already die cut from Whisper White cardstock using the Sweet and Sassy Framelit dies. I love these. There are tons of different heart shapes in here. So on this scratch piece of Whisper White, I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my Garden Green ink pad, and we'll just stamp that leaf image, the one with the details. We'll stamp that one 2 times in Garden Green. Now I've got some scratch paper here and my Early Espresso ink pad. I'm gonna bring in that little heart. I've got my coffee bean image that comes in that Coffee Break stamp set, and I'm just going to ink that up, and I'm gonna stamp this off 2 times, and then I'm just gonna stamp it down right there so that we get a nice light shade. All right, so now I'm gonna come in with that Happiness is a Cup of Coffee Shared with a Friend stamp, but I'm only going to ink up this top part, Happiness is a Cup of Coffee. So I've got my Pear Pizzazz and Early Espresso Stampin' Write markers, and that's how I'm gonna color in this image. And I've actually gone ahead and put a piece of washi tape over this, over the bottom portion of the stamp, because I don't wanna get any ink on there and then accidentally transfer it onto my heart. So I've got my Pear Pizzazz, and I'm gonna bring in the brush tip side, and I'm gonna color in or ink up that Happiness is a Cup of, and I'm just using the side of my brush tip marker. And this is a great way to get multiple colors on one stamped image. Just inking it up with your Stampin' Write marker. You can do this on your photopolymer stamps like this one, as well as your red rubber stamps. Now I'm coming in with the brush tip side of the Early Espresso, and I'm going to ink up the word coffee. So now I'm going to add a little breath to re-moisten the ink and stamp it right down. Give it a good press. Okay, and let's see how that turned out. That is perfect. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Love it. All right, so I've got my leaf punch here, which coordinates with that Painted Harvest stamp set. So I'm just going to line this up and punch out my 2 leaf images. All right, so I've got my card base here. This is a piece of Very Vanilla cardstock. This is the thick Very Vanilla. This is cut at 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and I have scored it at 4.25 inches. And I'm gonna bring in this piece of Early Espresso cardstock. This is cut at 3.5 inches by 4.75 inches. Then I've got my fast fuse here. I'm just going to add a little bit of fuse on the back. And I'm going to put this over to the right, leaving just a very thin border but I want it centered from top to bottom. So right about here, just rub that down. Then I've got a piece of Coffee Break Designer Series paper here, and I've cut this down to 1.5 inches by 4 inches, and I used my banner triple punch to banner this end. If you don't have the banner triple punch, you can just use your scissors. And I'm just going to add a little bit of fast fuse on the back here, and I'll just line up this straight edge over here on the right, so I think right about here. Now I'll take my little heart, and I'm just going to add some fast fuse down here to the right side behind where we stamped the coffee beans. I'm going to bring in my little leaves, and I'm just going to put these right behind those coffee beans. Just layer them up. All right, and then I've got some dimensionals on the back of this piece, so I'll just put this right here on my card. So I just want to go back to the catalog for a minute and show you. So here we used that Painted Harvest stamp set to get this little set of leaves, but they actually, in the project sample in the catalog right here, they actually hand cut these leaves from the Coffee Break Designer Series paper. So if you don't have that leaf punch or the Painted Harvest stamp set, but you have this paper, you could totally do that. I just didn't want to do any hand cutting, so I used the that stamp set and punch instead. All right, so I've gone ahead and creased my card here. So I've got some of the Classic Weave ribbon in Crumb Cake. This is also featured in that Coffee Break suite. So I'm just going to cut off a length of this ribbon. This should be enough. So then what they did in the sample with the ribbon is they took it and just kind of overlapped it over itself, just like this. Okay, so then you have something like this, but you want to flip it over. You see this little curved part, you want to flip your ribbon over so that that's at the back. So then this is what you have. Okay, so I'm going to take this, and I'm actually going to put one of our gold binder clips on here to hold this in place like that. Okay, so I've got that held in place just like that. And I'm going to bring in some of our linen thread. This is actually some leftover from my February paper pumpkin kit. So I'm just going to roll out a pretty decent length of this, and I'm doubling it over. And then I'm going to snip it. Let me also snip it right here. Okay, so now I've got 2 strands of that, and I'm going to tie this in a bow around my ribbon here. I'm going to scoot that clip up. Okay, so that clip's going to keep that ribbon in that position for us while we tie this in a bow. And then of course in the video I have 2 left hands. I didn't have any trouble when I was not filming this. Okay, there we go. All right, so then you can actually just pull the tails to get your loops exactly how you want them. And then once you think you've gotten them just how you like, you can remove that little clip. And then what I'm going to do is bring in some glue dots, and I'll just stick on, I'm gonna stick on 2 actually, just like that. I just wanna put that right about here, I think. Then I'll bring in my scissors, just trim down those ends a bit. Okay, let's trim these up. All right, and there you go, and there it is. I love how this looks on a card. I think it is so, so cute. Let me bring back the catalog just so you can see how it looked on the coffee cup and how it looks on the card. I really, really love this. I thought this was so much fun putting this sample onto a card. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed today's Stampin' Up! Saturday tutorial. I had a great time creating this project with you all. So remember, you can find all of the measurements for today's project over on my coordinating blog post for this video, and it is linked just below the video in the description notes. You can also find clickable links below the video to order any of the supplies that you saw me use today. You can also find those links over on today's coordinating blog post as well. So thanks again for joining me today, you guys, and I'll be back soon with another tutorial. Bye now.